We are back on MorningLine. Thanks for joining us. Streaming live on Facebook as well. A busy show today. And we're going to get to as many calls as we can for Dr. Friday, our financial expert. And let's get to those lines right off the bat. And we'll go next up to Joe. Go ahead, Joe. What's your question, Joe?
Hi.
Hi.
I actually qualified for the unemployment. I am a 1099 worker and worked in the music industry. And our work has been canceled for the year.
Yeah.
And so I actually, I got a note from the last person I was working for. I have our tax returns that show earned income for the past 2 years. And I certified and was receiving, I'd say for 3 weeks, I received benefits. And I got a notice that they needed a PUA form. It's the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Form. I haven't received it, but for the past 2 weeks I didn't receive benefits. And so I didn't receive the form to update information, and they've stopped the benefits. And so I don't know where to go from here.
Okay. All right. Any suggestions?
You might want to try going directly onto their website. You might be able to download. They've got a lot of the forms needed right on the website there to be able to possibly, to get the form put back in the system. You definitely need to contact them. I mean, you were already in the system receiving the money, so something fell through the system because it doesn't make a lot of sense why they would cancel you once all the forms have been already submitted and they started the payment. So were you offered a job back by any chance?
I think he hung up there.
Okay,
I put him on hold.
Okay.
I apologize.
Okay.
But yeah, go
no,
ahead.
That's right.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I mean, because again, we've been talking. If one of his employers may have gotten PPP money and offered him to be able to come back and work for a period of time, and he may not have, the communication may not have come through, and they stopped it because he didn't respond.
Yeah, that possibility. I'm considering, though, if he's in the music biz, I mean, that is dead right now, unfortunately. Those folks are really being hard hit. And so maybe you should try that. Let's see. Let's move on now to Jennifer. Jennifer, good morning. What's your question, Jennifer?
Hello. I filed a 2018 tax return, and then I ended up paying it back. And then 2019, I filed, paid, and then it rejected it. Do you know what's going on with that?
What did she say?
So
exactly,
I'm trying. You mean you owed money on your taxes and you paid it? Did you say? I don't understand your question.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So for both years,
you owed money.
Yes, and I paid it off. And then for 2019, I did the same thing. After I made the payment, they rejected my taxes.
Meaning they sent your money back, or what do you mean rejected your taxes?
No,
it just says my taxes were completely rejected, but no, they didn't send the money back. The funds are still been paid to the IRS.
Huh. What's going on there?
Well, quick question on that one. Did you by any chance go into the non-filer or anything like that during the year looking for your stimulus?
Did you go in looking in non-filer and the stimulus at all?
No.
You didn't go to the non-filer section. Okay. I guess not. The answer is no.
Right. Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons we're getting rejection. If you get a rejection through, I'm assuming you used the software. Did she self-file? Was there a software that she used?
Did you self-file yourself? Did you use software, or did you go through a tax preparer?
Yeah, I used the tax preparer.
Okay.
They should, I mean, we get rejections all the time, and there's a reason. They will tell us specifically this Social Security number's already been used, your dependent is already being claimed by someone else. She needs to go back to that tax preparer and find out what the reason is, and then, address that reason. If they're showing that a return has already been signed under her name, then most likely someone did go under the IRS website and put in a zero return to find out the status. But that's what we're finding out. Again, we're getting a lot of those notices because of that website. It's making life exciting.
Well, yeah, you should just check with your tax preparer. If you had someone do it for you, you just have to go back and
answer the question.
And they should do it. They're the ones that are supposed to help you through that process. Again, some people confusion. Okay, Tina's saying in the end of July, for those of you who are on unemployment, you'll lose the federal unemployment. But we're thinking it's June. Yeah, I'm not sure that they said a specific date.
I'm not sure.
It may be. It's sometime in July is kind of what I had heard. We thought maybe June 30th. 30th, but just plan on losing the federal unemployment. It's going to go away sometime, no later than the end of July. Okay,
Right.
it's going to go away. So that's where it is. I don't know that they've put out a specific number for sure, but it's somewhere in that realm. Brandy just applied for unemployment a week and a half ago. Will she get it on time? Just sit around with your fingers crossed. At least she applied, and we'll see how that goes. Some people have gotten their unemployment very easily, and then there's others who just do everything right and are not getting it when they should. Let's go next to go ahead.
I was just going to say really quickly, some of the employers did go in and preempt providing all the information in advance to the unemployment, so it did make it easier for those people to get their unemployment faster.
Okay, and again, others, Houston and others saying if you're on SSI, still have not gotten a stimulus check. If you're on SSI, you're going to get a stimulus check. They will send it to you wherever you get your SSI payment. And if you haven't gotten it yet, it's coming. It's coming. Unless there's some mix-up, if you have direct deposit or if you're getting a paper check, most people direct deposit, it's going to go to wherever you get your SSI check. It's that simple.
Perfect.
You have to do nothing except wait, unfortunately. Let's go to Charlene. Hi, Charlene. What's your question?
Information in advance to the unemployment, so it did make it easy.
Wow.
Are you there, Charlene?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, I have a question about dependents. My husband and I took custody of 3 young grandchildren in November of 2019. Of course, we did not get them on the first stimulus check. I'm assuming their father did. He is sitting in jail in state custody and probably will be for another year. Is there any way to add the children so that if there is a second stimulus check, we can get them on that? Because we're not getting any assistance from anybody for the children.
Ah, okay.
Right. Okay. Great question. And yes, the father, if he filed a tax return in 2019, would have had the custody for more than 6 months. He would have been the qualifying person to take them on the tax return. When you file your 2020, you will then claim the children, assuming that you have them for more than 6 months of the year. Then it's sounding like you will. And then that should qualify you. They would have to use. And again, if there is a second stimulus, we have no idea if it is. We don't know if they're going to use the same system. Are they going to use tax paying? Are they going to do something more for people in Pacific industries? There's a lot of question on how that's going to be done. But in her case, she'll file a tax return in 2020, claim the children, and if they use 2020 taxes, then she would qualify for the new stimulus if it happens.
Gotcha. If it happens, big if. So people asking, and yeah, we do not know if there will be a second stimulus. Right now, there is not. Tom, go ahead, Tom. What's your question, Tom?
Hey, good morning, Nick.
Morning.
I was just watching TV there yesterday, and I was watching the thing on these checks they're going to send out. They're going to start sending out bank cards instead of paper checks, and they're supposed to be good for any bank. So that I just want to know if you was aware of that, or but that's what's going to happen. They're going to start sending these bank cards out instead of all these paper checks. So there may be a little hold up on some of the things.
Huh, now, I had not heard that, whether or not it'll be something else other than a check. They're trying to get everyone on direct deposit, of course, but there are some that still get checks, and it could be a plastic card instead of a paper check. Had you heard that, Dr. Friday?
I haven't, to be quite honest. I did not hear anything about it. I think it would be interesting because the problem is a card, almost anyone could use. A check requires the person's name to cash it, so it does give some security on who's cashing the check that they're receiving. I'd be a little worried if something was coming on a debit card of some sort, personally.
People are waiting, for unemployment. The average wait we've heard could be 2 to 3 weeks, but we're hearing from people who have waited 7, 8 weeks or more, correct?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
So you just never know on this. Shane, by the time I get this stimulus check, I'll be a starving, shriveled prune. That's what he says.
I know, and I'm sorry. I mean, I know I've seen several things on Facebook as well. People saying, well, the stimulus is supposed to help us survive, and we're not receiving, unemployment and/or stimulus. Some people haven't received either of them. If you have a house and a mortgage, I can tell you that there are furloughs or ways of stopping the mortgage payment. Even some of the utility companies are helping out. I don't know where. I mean, I live in Murray County, which is a smaller county. They're advertising, if you can't pay your utility bills, contact the utility companies. There's things they're trying to do to help people. So all I'm saying, if you haven't gotten the money, maybe going the other direction, calling these other companies, going to services that are outside of those to stay alive. I mean, to keep yourself and your family healthy.
Gotcha. And as often is the case, our viewers are up to speed on a lot of this, and they're saying, yes, they've seen the same news report yesterday about the possibility of debit cards being sent out instead of checks, which it's just another form, and good. I don't see a problem with that. Dr. Friday, thank you so much for coming on again this week. We're going to grab you again next week, as you know, and you're terrific. We apologize we couldn't get to everyone, but she will be back, all right? So, Dr. Friday, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
You take care of yourself. Listen, we'll take a break. I'll be back with a programming note about tomorrow, and I'm going to give you that phone number again where you can call the IRS, a new one that's out there. So stay with us. We'll be right back.